Hello guys, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I kind of wanted to consolidate all my favorite colorful eyeshadow palettes to show you guys. If you don't follow me already on Instagram, which you should, I would love to have you over there. I'm at Julia C. Mazzucato, and that is where I post all my makeup looks. So I pretty much post every single day, but I love doing very bold, intricate eyeshadow looks. That's just one of my favorite creative outlets, and a lot of you guys here on YouTube that have subscribed to me have subscribed for the eyeshadow stuff, so I hope you guys enjoy this one. But there's certain palettes in my collection that I love reaching for to create these very bold, intricate, extra Instagram makeup looks, and in this video I want to share with you guys some of my favorite colorful palettes. These are palettes that have a really inspiring color story to me that just have amazing formulas as well, and these are some of my favorite palettes that I reach for whenever I want to create these awesome eye looks. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. Chances are, if you look at any of my Instagram photos and you scroll down into the description of what I used, you will find one of these palettes in there. So today I just wanted to kind of consolidate all those favorites into one big video, share with you guys some of my favorite colorful eyeshadow palettes, and I hope you guys enjoy this one. So let's get right into my favorite colorful, inspiring eyeshadow palettes. I'll start off with what I consider to be the kingpin of all my colorful eyeshadow palettes, and that would be my Sugarpill Pro Palette. This is basically the rainbow palette of my dreams. In here I have all the rainbow colors that I could ever need. I do have another shade from them. It is the Red Love Plus shade that I have in a separate palette because it wouldn't fit into this one. I think Sugarpill is probably one of my favorite formulas of eyeshadows. They do not swatch well and they're very dry in texture, so they don't look like anything special, but once you pick them up on a brush and just apply them to your eyes, they're so incredibly pigmented and they're beautiful. I've used this palette in a tutorial so you can see how they perform, and as always with my eyeshadow palette videos, I like to flash a couple pictures of some looks I've done with the specific palette so you can see just some ideas for inspiration. Sugarpill's eyeshadows are an amazing investment if you do more colorful eyeshadow looks. They are pretty pricey in terms of price per pan. These are $10 each, so the entire palette for me was $120, which is crazy. You can also get a 6-pan palette from them for $60, which is, I guess, a little better, but still very expensive. I love this palette. I love the looks I've been able to create with this one, and for me, I think the investment will completely pay off. I think at some point I will definitely go through all these eyeshadows because I use this so often. I'll just mention some of my favorite shades from them that I would say if you're not wanting to pick up a full palette, pick up these shades first. Butter Cupcake is the most beautiful matte yellow I've ever tried. It's so hard to find a good matte yellow. I've tried so many different formulas. I've tried Morphe, Colourpop. This is the only one that's really impressed me so far, so I really enjoyed this one. I also really like the white shade up here called Taco, and the black shade up here called Bulletproof, I believe. This just inspires me to no end, and for me, I do believe that it was worth the investment. So one of my favorite colorful eyeshadow palettes, and it definitely inspires me. I feel kind of bad mentioning this one because it's not available anymore, but I do hear a rumor that they might be bringing something very similar to this back. So this is the Morphe 39A palette. I would be lying if I didn't mention this as one of my favorite colorful, most inspiring eyeshadow palettes because this is one of my favorites in general, and it's actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today. This is a big honker. You get 39 shades in here. Obviously down the middle you get a row of transition shades, and then it's divided into 4 distinct color stories. So you've got the berries, you got the blues, you got the greens, and then you've got all the neutrals as well. In terms of quality, I think this is one of the most amazing things that Morphe's ever done. These are very creamy and extremely pigmented. They do feel like a high-end eyeshadow to me, and I just love how these perform. They're very, very rich in color payoff. Unfortunately, this was limited edition, so I believe it went off sale in around March. You never really know with Morphe, they might bring it back, but they also discontinued the 35B palette, and a lot of people have been upset about that, but I did see that Morphe is planning on bringing out a colorful palette to kind of replace the 35B, so I have a theory they're gonna do something very similar to this one, possibly like a 39B palette. I would love to see them do this same kind of row of big pans down the middle with all like rainbow primary shades, just the basic red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and then more distinct color stories, kind of like this one. I would love to see them do that. That would be so cool. So hopefully that is what they're planning on doing to replace the 35B or this one. But just in general, this is one of my favorite colorful eyeshadow palettes. I've created very neutral looks with this one, as well as some very bold colorful eye looks in all 4 of the quadrants. So this is one of my favorites as well, and it definitely inspires me a lot. The Juvia's Place palettes are also some of my favorite colorful eyeshadows. I really enjoy their formula. I've created very many eye looks with all of these palettes, so I'll just breeze through them, but these are some of my favorite ones from them. The Masquerade Mini is beautiful, and I would actually call this more of a starter palette in terms of colorful eyeshadows. If you're not as comfortable doing like fully colorful eye looks just yet, I would say this is a great fit for you because you do have these beautiful, vibrant, colorful shades, but most of them are shimmers. So this kind of enables you to do a neutral crease and then pop a shimmer on the lid. So this is kind of a good introduction to colorful shadows if you're not super comfortable with doing full, bold, vibrant eye looks just yet. But this is beautiful. I love the jewel tone shades in here, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous quality as well. The Zulu palette is just your standard rainbow palette. This is another one of my favorites. It's a little bit harder to work with than the other Juvia's Place palettes, but I mean, it's rainbow shadows. You have to build them up a bit more than you would with other shadows, but they can be very vibrant on the eyes if you use them correctly. So I really like this one a lot. And Saharan 2 is definitely my favorite from all the Juvia's Place palettes. This one is the most beautiful color story. I am so incredibly inspired by these two blues in here. I also love this gorgeous red shade here called Nomad. And then the three more rich, deeply spicy mattes down here are gorgeous as well. So this is one of the most inspiring color stories to me. I love what they did with this one, and I just think it's a beautiful quality palette as well. The Festival is a newer release, but this is another one of my favorite color stories. This is very inspiring to me because I haven't really seen other color schemes on the market like this one. I love all the warm tone shades in here. This matte kind of mustard shade is beautiful in the crease, and these are all so richly pigmented that I think you would really love these ones if you're wanting to do very bold looks. So I love this one as well. It's just one of the best on the market. Juvia's Place palettes are amazing. Even if you are a beginner into colorful eyeshadows, I would say go for the Masquerade Mini, but these ones are amazing if you just really love doing very bold eyeshadow looks and you want some amazing color stories. I think the Colourpop My Little Pony palette is one of the most underrated palettes I've seen in a while, especially from a bigger brand like Colourpop. This was the third palette that Colourpop released, and there was kind of like an initial hype and then no one talked about it, and I never heard about this one. And I don't know why, because it is one of the most beautiful, inspiring color schemes to me. When you think of My Little Pony today, you think of like Technicolor, rainbows, neons, just very bold, bright colors. But when you think of the My Little Pony that they were going for, this is more of the vintage, original My Little Pony. So all the colors were a bit more muted back then, everything was a bit more pastel, and that is what they did with this palette. These colors are a bit more muted in terms of the depth of them, but they're still extremely pigmented and they just look so beautiful. So I love going for this one when I want some really nice pastel shades. I love the blues down here as well. These are just gorgeous on the eyes, and you can use them in pastel looks or very bold eye looks as well. But you get some lavenders, you get some very nice rosy toned pinks, and you also get some creamsicle oranges as well as the light blues. So I think it's a very nice cohesive palette that really inspires me whenever I look at it. And I believe the retail price of this one was $16, but it's on sale constantly because no one really wants it. So get this one. It's really, really good, and I would love to see more people talking about this one because it's one of my favorite palettes from Colourpop. I know. Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture Palette is one of the most controversial in terms of formula, but I do think that the palette itself and the color story is just everything to me. These retro shades threw me for a loop, and after Modern Renaissance, I really wasn't expecting this color scheme, but when I saw this palette, it just worked for me. I was like, I don't know what it is about that palette, but I love this. These are very grungy tones. You're getting some like mustard yellows in here, like a kind of mustard yellow orange shade, some really interesting like teal blues and olive green, this really nice deep burgundy. Again, they're kind of muted brights, so they're very, very pigmented. They have such rich color payoff, but they're not like fluorescent and rainbow colors. So while I do love more rainbow palettes, as evidenced by my Sugarpill palette and some other palettes I'll mention later, I also love very rich colors with a lot of depth to them, and this palette just is everything to me. This color scheme is so inspiring. So there are plenty of dupes out there if you don't want to work with the formula itself, but personally I really do enjoy the formula, and I've found ways to kind of adapt how I go at this palette to make it work for me. So if you're not wanting to work with the formula, there's plenty of dupes out there for the actual colors. I just think that this color scheme is one of the most innovative things that I've seen in a while, and I love what Anastasia, Norvina, and the entire creative team at Anastasia Beverly Hills is doing. The Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette came out at a time that other brands were coming out with a kind of similar color story, more warm tones, very purple tone palettes, and for some reason there was just something special about this palette that really drew me in. Huda is amazing at putting together really inspiring color stories. She's done it with her like little mini Obsessions palettes. She's done it with the Rose Gold palette, which I think is a beautiful color story. Can't speak for the formula, but the color story is beautiful. And then this one I think is one of her best products. Truly is a colorful palette. You do get a few neutrals in here. You get the brown shade here called Oud. You get the kind of cool toned transition brown shade here called Musk. But at its core, I do think the color story of this palette is very inspiring because the neutrals kind of tie in with the more colorful shades. And I love that the entire color story is centered around using these three purple shades. This area right here was immediately where my eyes went when I saw this palette, and I knew that I needed to get it because of this one shade here called Twilight that is just insane. She was very wise at picking which shades to make matte, which shades to make shimmers, which shades to make duochrome glitter toppers. I love the glitters in here. They're very, very foiled and extremely beautiful. I think Huda did an amazing job with the color story, the packaging, just everything about this palette. Every time I look into it, I'm just reminded of how much I love the color story. So I think Huda did an amazing job with this one. I would love to see her do another kind of bigger palette like this one. Maybe she would do like blue tones. That would be amazing to see. So hopefully she'll kind of do a third palette in this format because I do like her mini Obsessions palette palettes, but I love her big palettes as well. I've got to mention the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette because this is a palette that actually got me into doing colorful eyeshadow looks. When I first ordered this palette, I was just doing neutral looks every single day. That was what I did, and I didn't even post makeup looks on Instagram. So this was a while ago. I got this one in July of last year, and since then, my love for eyeshadow has really evolved into something that I've been able to kind of hone my skills into and really create art that I love. But let me just say, when I first got this palette, I was pretty sure that I would never use these colorful shades down here, or these reds over here, or this creamsicle shade here. I just thought I would be using all the neutrals, and there are plenty of those in this palette. So in that way, kind of similar to the Masquerade palette from Juvia's, I would say this is a great starter palette for getting into more colorful eye looks, because you have the options to create very bold, colorful eye looks, but you also have the options to create neutral looks. Either way, the formula of all these shadows in here are amazing, and I just love what I've been able to do with this palette. So it's 35 shades, but I never find it to be overwhelming for me because every single shade to me has a purpose. I love how this is put together. I think it's just so expertly done. And yeah, this palette is what started it all for me. So I really, really love this one. And I am actually very excited for Morphe to kind of relaunch the Jaclyn Hill Vault. I know that some people were mad about that, but personally I think it's a great decision by them. And I think it shows a lot of integrity as a brand to do that. So I'm definitely picking up the Morphe Jaclyn Hill Vault and reviewing it for you guys once it does release. I have no idea when it will, but I'm very excited to see those because those color stories inspire me as well. But the original Jaclyn Hill palette is one of my favorites and definitely still inspires me to this day. The Anastasia Beverly Hills Prism palette kind of threw me for a loop because when this palette came out, I knew I was gonna get it because it's Anastasia and I buy all their palettes. This color story, when I looked at it, I was like, what am I gonna do with that? That makes no sense to me. And that's kind of what I love about this palette, is that it kind of challenges me to look at it more critically and challenge myself to create new looks. So it's not a palette where I look at it immediately and I know what I'm gonna do, but if I kind of pick it apart, look at it shade by shade, I can think of so many looks that I want to do with each shade, and from there I kind of just build it in there. And it just makes so much sense to me that this would be a holiday palette. So it is still available right now, you can still pick it up, but I love that they kind of were allowed to play with some more colorful shadows without having to worry about the wearability for the average consumer. So yeah, I really enjoy this one a lot, and it is definitely one of my favorite colorful palettes that really inspires me and pushes me to create new looks. I also really like the ABH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil. I mentioned this quite a lot in June because it was Pride Month. While June may be over, I'm still definitely going to be doing rainbow colorful eyeshadow looks throughout the entire year. Pride Month never really ends for me, I guess. But this palette has 35 shades in here. They are very, very small pans, but you're getting basically every color in the rainbow. So this is a great supplementary palette for whatever eye look I'm doing, because sometimes I'm doing a specific eye look and I have a specific color in mind that I really need. If I don't have it in that palette or in anywhere else, I will reach for this one, and in likelihood I probably have it in here. I've seen some pretty negative reviews on this palette. A lot of people have been saying that these are kind of chalky, that they don't have the most pigmented formula. It's obviously not going to be as pigmented as Sugarpill or any of those high-end eyeshadows that are amazing quality, but it's still very good quality for the price. This is $16.99 for the entire 35 shades in here. You do need to build it up a bit more to get full intense color payoff, but still, I love what I've been able to do with this palette, and I still think that you can get there with this palette. So I've kind of taken it upon myself to look at some of the looks I've been able to create with my Sugarpill palette and then go into this one and see if I can recreate it with this formula. And while it does take a bit more building, while it does take a bit more patience and blending, you can get there still. So I do think this is an amazing quality formula. I would say kind of similar to Colourpop. So yeah, even if no one else stands this palette, I do. The hype around Kylie Cosmetics has died down a lot, for better or for worse. It's good to see their stuff not selling out in 5 seconds anymore, but still it kind of makes me sad that a lot of their products are talked about when they first release and then kind of go away. No one ever talks about them again. This is one of my favorites from Kylie Cosmetics. This is the Kylie Cosmetics Purple Palette. So this one, I believe some people were talking about it when it first released. It kind of released around the same time that the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk one did, and the Natasha Denona Lila palette, and a bunch of other purple palettes. And because this one is a bit more cool toned, and a lot of people really gravitate more towards warm tones, I feel like this one kind of got lost in the mix. Still, they're very pigmented, they blend extremely easily. The formula is awesome. It makes me want to try more from Kylie, so I love this palette, and I think she did an amazing color story with this one. I believe this one is still available. It's permanent and you can still pick this one up, so I really recommend this one. It's very, very good. I love this one, especially if I'm doing a more cool toned look, and I've created some very fun looks with this one, so really enjoyed this one. I wish people would talk about it more often. This next one is a new release that I've been testing out from Deck of Scarlet. This is the Deck of Scarlet edition number 9. It was made in collaboration with one of my favorite YouTubers, Belle Jourdain. She's a beautiful, cruelty-free beauty YouTuber. She does the most amazing eye looks, so I was expecting the best. I was so stunned by how gorgeous this color scheme is. Obviously, you're not getting a ton of colors in here. 2 of these shades here are lip shades, so you can't really use them on your eyes. You're getting a blush, a highlight, and then 3 eyeshadows. The fact that this palette was able to get me so inspired and so excited about it with only 3 eyeshadow shades was really something to me. First of all, the blush in here is beautiful. You can use it as a transition shade, as an eyeshadow, or on your cheeks. I'm wearing it on my cheeks today. It's just such a gorgeous shade. Very muted. I just find that very bright blushes on me just do not look natural in any way, and this one is just such a gorgeous, rich color that still looks natural. I love this kind of duochrome metallic lavender purple and this beautiful like kind of eggplant deep plum. These shades are gorgeous and I'm so inspired by this palette. The matte formula is awesome. I think it's probably the best palette that Deck of Scarlet has ever done. It also came with a mascara. I'll review that more in depth and this entire palette more in depth in my new makeup releases, favorites, and fails for July, but until then I did want to share this one with you guys because it's one of my favorites from one of my favorite people, so I would say definitely support this collaboration. I do work with Deck of Scarlet from time to time. I worked with them on their edition number 8 palette to review it, and they were actually kind enough to send this one to me in PR, so I got this one through Octoly, and I was so excited about this one because the color story is just stunning.
Oh, brown cow, stunning.
I love them. They're a great company. I would love to do my own palette with them in the future someday. Maybe someday. I think this is one of the most beautiful palettes they've ever done. The e.l.f. Matte for Matte Jewel Pop palette is one of my favorites as well. I mean, first of all, it's $10, so that's insane, but also this color scheme is very, very inspiring to me. This reminds me of the Viseart Dark Mattes palette, and I would love to see other high-end brands kind of recreate this kind of color scheme. You get some beautiful jewel tone matte shades in here, as well as some kind of like grungier neutral shades. They do need a bit more building than your typical high-end eyeshadow, but I don't really mind that. I think they're beautiful quality for the price. I love this one. It is one of the best drugstore shadows, hands down, and I think e.l.f. is doing an awesome job. So this final one is not actually an eyeshadow palette. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills lipstick palette, and I mean, obviously I do use this one for lipstick, but whenever you see me on Instagram with like a painted on eye look, so if I'm doing stars on my face, or when I did my monarch butterfly look, whenever I'm doing something that's very intricate, very artistically based, I probably use this palette in some way, shape, or form to kind of paint on the figures on my face. So these shades down here are awesome to me, but just in general, this is so underrated. I love the quality of the lipsticks in here. They're beautiful. You're able to create pretty much any color you would want. So whether you use this for lipsticks or if you use them in your eye looks or face looks, I think this is awesome for doing very artistic looks, and I love this one. Don't be intimidated by potted lip products. I know it doesn't seem super consumer friendly. You're getting so many colors in here. It's one of my favorites, and I use this so often. Alright guys, so that concludes my favorite colorful eyeshadow palettes. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure you're following me on Instagram to see all my eye looks that I create with these palettes here. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I just want to say you guys mean so much to me. I love you guys so much more than you'll ever know, and you guys have helped me a lot during this past month. It's been kind of a rough one in my personal life, so I just want to say thank you guys. You guys mean the whole world. If you made it to the very end of this video, I love you so much. Thank you so much for watching my channel.